to the Archie Comics San Diego Comic-Con panel. So, you know, at every Archie panel, we have that initial kind of crowd moment, and I always ask for a bigger cheer, but that was pretty good. But let's do it again. Welcome to the Archie Comics Comic-Con panel. And before we dive into things, I want to just introduce this superb lineup I have up here. To my left, our Chief Executive Officer and Publisher, the man behind all of Archie's moves over the last 6 years, the guy that's revitalized the brand, Mr. John Goldwater. Now, legendary is not a term I use lightly, but it is very apropos for the next person on the dais, Mr. Victor Gorelick, our legendary. Next up, we have our Chief Creative Officer, the mastermind of Archie Horror, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and Afterlife with Archie, Roberto Aguirre. Next up, we have El Presidente himself, Mike Pellerito. And the guy that's probably drawn every Archie situation over the last 25 years? 28. 28. round up. But he's also working on Life with Kevin, Betty and Veronica, and Archie vs. Sharknado, Dan Perrin. Really honored to have the next gentleman on stage with us. He's the guy behind Sharknado, the movies, and also the writer of Archie vs. Sharknado, Anthony C. Ferrante. Last but certainly not least, the guy that's going to bring back Jughead, who has not had a series in how long? Forever.
A long time.
And so the only person we could find to write Jughead was a guy who's basically Jughead himself.
Hey, Alex, I just want to give one personal shout out to the guy to my left. 57 years at Archie, almost 58 this October. Let's give another hand to Victor
So I know the question you're asking, where is Mark Wade? He will be here very shortly. He's the guy behind a little, little indie book that came out on Wednesday. Maybe you read it, Archie #1. How many of you guys picked it up on Wednesday? What do you think?
Love it!
All right.
And as a retailer, I sold the hell out of that book.
All right.
I love you guys right now. I love you guys. Thank you.
So John, you've been through every kind of situation with this company. You've seen Archie fight zombies, you've seen the Queen kiss, you've seen the death of Archie, which was the talk of Comic-Con last year. Walk us through the idea behind getting Archie #1 out there.
Yeah, we've done a lot of things to Archie. Wow. Now that you mentioned it. Really the thinking behind Archie #1 was, let's just have some fun with it. Let's start all over. Let's make it funny. Let's make it bright. Let's make it colorful. Let's make it modern. And really, let's make it really funny and fun and invite everyone into the Archie world. And we were so fortunate to get two great people involved in Mark Wade, and a special shout out to Fiona Staples. And how great does she make Archie look? That love triangle now makes sense. Come on, that Outstanding. So, yeah, let's just have some fun with Archie. It's a new day. Traditional Archie, just for all your traditional folks, still lives on in the digests with new stories, so you can still get plenty of those as well. But we just really wanted to have a good time and invite the whole world into the new day of Riverdale. And that was really the thinking behind number one.
Awesome. Mike, you are kind of in the trenches with Mark and Fiona, just getting the book out the door and talking story and stuff. What's it like watching them work?
It is the easiest job in the universe. When you get all these brilliant people to work on a book and they actually love the characters as much as you do, as I do, I had nothing to do. They just showed up. The script was brilliant. I think we did 1 or 2 revisions, a couple, very little. Mark knows the characters as well as anybody, back and forth about the history. And Fiona, when we first met, she said, you know, we go out and have a couple drinks. I just talk Archie. I was like, so you're the most brilliant artist in comic books, plus you love Archie? Yeah, we can do this, totally. And how she reimagined the characters, the storytelling, everything is right there. I wish I could say, you know, I had something to do with it, but man, these guys are brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's amazing. And as you can see, these are the 2 San Diego Con exclusive covers that Fiona did, and they're just mind-blowing and beautiful, especially, I mean, the one on left is my favorite. You care?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, and so the birth of this new Archie kind of opened the door to so much more, and that's really what we're here to talk about too, kind of the new Riverdale in many ways. And, you know, Chip reached out and was like, hey, I'd love to do a variant, and that's when the 2 dots kind of connected themselves, like, well, it's funny, Jughead's funny, and it just steamrolled from there. So I don't know if you want to talk about the process and how you've basically been a Jughead fan forever.
Well, you know, like you kind of mentioned early on, I kind of am Jughead. Not a big fan of girls. Okay. Huge fan. Eating burgers. Yeah, I was a huge fan, and then when the news came out about Mark and Fiona, Archie, I was like, I love both of them so much, and I just wanted to do anything. It's like, I was like, do you need someone to staple the comics? If I can staple the comics, then I'm doing something for Archie. And so I got to do a variant cover, and then it just started the conversation. And you know, I had a phone call with Mike, and which I just talked about back when I was in college. We had a project where you had to take a 2-dimensional piece of classic art and turn it into a 3-dimensional thing. So, you know, like the Mona Lisa, or like Picasso, and I chose it. Yeah. Woo! Yes! So for my project, I chose a Jughead panel, and I just built the panel around my head, and I put a crown on, and without the beard, so I'm very Jugheadish. And I just had like a word balloon, and I got like a C-. But because I love the character so much, and the chance to write it has just been amazing, and I can't wait to let everyone in this room down.
You're on your way.
I'm not giving any spoilers, but I read it. It's really, really funny. It's really good. So, wait.
Moose has the best dialogue.
Did it sync up with your vision for Jughead?
No, it was really, I mean, it was better. Really good. Jughead is really Jughead. That makes any sense.
And so this slide we have up here is the cover to Jughead 1 by the interior artist Erica Henderson, who you may know from Squirrel Girl at Marvel. And she just, Chip, I don't know, you spoke to her before, and it was kind of a no-brainer to work together.
Yeah, no, she's amazing. And actually this morning, I woke up in my hotel room and checked my mail, and she works overnight like a vampire, and in the morning there were 4 new Jughead pages, and I was just like, I almost want to start crying in bed. I'm usually crying in bed for a lot of different reasons. but
Now this is good crying?
Yeah, this was good crying. Oh my god, like she just gets it. Like the characters look fantastic, the gestures, and I'm an artist, so I had that conflicting thing of, oh, I'm so happy that looks great. Oh, I hate her, she's so good. She's so much better than I am. Yeah, her redesigns and stuff are just fantastic. She's an amazing artist, and I'm so glad she's doing it for Marvel.
And we're seeing some of the variants to Jughead 1, Robert Hack, Ramon Perez, and of course the master himself, Francesco Francavilla. But that's not it.
I was just going to say, this is the thing, like there's so many variants for this book because everyone loves Archie and the gang. Like you could walk into anybody at one of these shows, any professional, and say, hey, do you want to do something for Archie? Like, yeah, of course I do.
Yeah, the big secret is it's very easy. The editorial side's really easy. We just ask if you want to do something for Archie.
Yeah, it's great.
But there wouldn't be a new Riverdale without the love triangle, and there are two key components to that, Betty and Veronica. So you may have seen some on stage, but I want to introduce the masterful writer-artist, Mr. Adam Hughes.
Sorry I'm late.
No worries. And of course,
It's really kind of crazy out there. I noticed.
Yeah, so then you have the kind of entrance exit puzzle you have to figure out to get in. But
Alex, we're getting a real all-star lineup.
it's amazing. I don't know if I've seen this much talent on an Archie panel ever.
Whoa.
Yeah. So Adam, I know it's way early. You know, the book's still a ways away, but if you want to just give some general thoughts on why this is the book for you.
Because Sabrina wasn't available. Anybody that's familiar with my work knows that I'm usually associated with doing female comic book characters. And Betty and Veronica are two characters I never thought I would ever be allowed to work on, simply because I'm more known for pinup style artwork, and I thought the apocalypse is overdue, so why not jumpstart it? But ever since Mike got me in for this project, I've been thinking long and hard. The weird thing about being here today is I haven't started yet. My goal has been to get my entire schedule cleared off by San Diego, which I did, so that I can go home next week and start working on Betty and Veronica. So my thoughts on the project are very, very diffuse, very zen at this point. I just know I want it to be funny. I want people to walk away and just go, this is, it felt like a fabulous comedy, and yes, the two main characters happen to be pretty girls. Just I want it to be a laugh ride. I'm really sorry.
By the way, I don't know if Mark told you when I said, this is what we got. We got Chip, and we have Adam for Betty and Veronica. That's a really good choice. You know what's horrible about Adam? He draws so good, but he writes so good too. Not fair. So the pressure is truly on now, sir.
Yeah, that's really all the emails I get from Mike. It's gonna be the great people in 30 years will be remembering this. I'm going, man. I don't even know what
In a good way.
I don't even know what cases and sentences are. I'm just
So I don't think it's a stretch to say the most important new character in Archie history is Kevin Keller.
Can I jump in, Alex? So, Alex mentioned all these changes that have happened in Riverdale in the last 6 years. And they've been unbelievable and so much fun and very inspiring. But the first most important moment that happened in 2010 was when Dan Parent came to me and said, John, I want to introduce a gay character into Riverdale. And that was a watershed moment for the comic book world, certainly for Archie Comics. And Dan, you deserve all the props for that, because that was
Dan,
Yes.
why don't you tell us a little bit about what Life with Kevin is?
Life with Kevin is, well, it's the upcoming new series with Kevin Keller. And you can see he's changed a little bit, but not too much. He's a little shaggier now, he's a little older, he's living on his own. And we're going to get to see, with Life with Kevin is a very fitting title, because we're going to see Kevin out in the real world. And we're going to see him, his family, we're going to see him getting set into a career, and we're going to see him kind of back hanging out with his old BFF Veronica, who will be around his career everything up, of course. And yeah, so it's very exciting. We've got Jason Bowen on hand, who's going to be doing the inks on the book. Who's really fantastic. He's a really good artist. And I think that it's just going to be really fun, because there's a lot of stuff that, when Kevin was in high school, there's a lot of storylines we can't really do that we're limited to. Now Kevin's out in the real world, and there's the sky's the limit. So it's really fun.
hear some breaking news. How about Riverdale going to the CW? Let's pass it right to our Chief Creative Officer, Mr. Roberto, and just tell us a little bit about the show, how it happened.
Sure. One of the things that John Goldwater and I and everyone at Archie have been talking about is trying to get Archie to cross over from comic books into different mediums. Television, movies, stage shows, and things like that. And about a year and a half ago, we started talking about trying to do a teen drama like Dawson's Creek or The OC, but with the Archie comic book characters. So we met with a very famous producer, many of you probably have heard and seen his shows, Greg Berlanti, who does Arrow, Supergirl, which is coming this year, everything. And he is a huge Archie comics fan, and we started working on Riverdale. And we started last year, and Fox originally bought it. But Greg's home network really is the CW. That's where his big hit shows are. So after about a year, that's where Riverdale has migrated over. But we're really, really excited about it. There's a lot of music in it. Josie and the Pussycats are in it. The Blossom Twins, Kevin Keller, who's such a big, important part of the comic book, is in it. That's him in the V-neck sweater. And we're really, really excited about that. And you guys heard this news first, but it's a great match. Archie, CW is Riverdale.
It is.
Like in the comic books, Archie will be hot.
Yeah. Does he look hot?
Yes.
So this piece of promo art is by the amazing Veronica Fish, who did a really nice job kind of showing the vibe of the show. So I'm going to warn you, things are going to get a little dark with this next slide. You know, Archie has a reputation for crossing over into media. And this one just happens to include a lot of sharks. So I'm going to pass it to Anthony to give us just how did this happen?
It actually was last summer. One of our producers, Dave Lapp, over in that Dan Parent said, "Hey, can you do an Archie versus Sharknado cover for me?" And then Lapp showed it to me, and I went over and we started talking to Dan. We got to make this happen. We have to do an Archie versus Sharknado comic book for real. And it was like a long, drawn-out process. It was over the course of 6 months. I kept going, "What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?" In the middle of shooting Sharknado 3, they go, "It's happening. Now you have to write it." And so it was actually pretty cool. I mean, it was one of those organic things. I mean, you think, you know, our world is very kind of goofy and silly when we ground our characters, and they think it's real. And Archie has that sense of fun too. So it actually really is a perfect marriage because you can kind of take two things that kind of have a similar vibe and really make it a nice little thing. The cool thing about it too was the fact that we wanted it to be set during the time frame of Sharknado 3. So the East Coast is being taken over in Sharknado 3, called the Feast Coast. And conveniently enough, Riverdale is on the Feast Coast. So while our opening of the movie is in Washington, we have Betty and Veronica kicking ass in Washington, D.C. and sort of an alternate view of what's going on in our movie. And then when we get to Riverdale, they get to have their little adventure and they take part in trying to save the world. There's no characters from our universe in there, though there might be an Easter egg if you pay attention. But it was a blast because there was no limitation with schedule or VFX or budget. And Dan and I started talking about it early on, and you know, I wanted to be very faithful to these characters and not mess it up because it's a completely different medium. I've never written a comic before, so you know, coming from the scripting world, it's a different kind of process. But it was amazing. Like, I would always go, "Hey, can I do this with the character? Can we do this?" And then I think we did something that no one's done before, and it was kind of by accident. We paired up Dylan and Marcy in the comic because it was an obvious thing to do, and they both got pop culture references, so it made it easy to kind of.
We just broke the Tumblr too.
Oh, we just broke Tumblr. We weren't supposed to talk about that.
No.
So no, it was a blast. The other thing too is that there, you know, with these comics, you know, with Predator and Archie and stuff, you know, you can kill characters off because it's sort of a side universe. And I was planning on killing a lot of characters, And then I was like going through it going, I can't kill them. There was all these instances where I wrote this person died. And then I'm like, no, it doesn't work, because it didn't work within our Sharknado universe. We have very strict rules. There are certain people that are expendable and certain people that can't be. And you can kill someone for just killing them's sake, or you can actually make a better story out of it. And that's, I fell in love with the character, so I couldn't kill someone off.
There's a lot of missing links.
Dan, what's it been like for you drawing and kind of collaborating with Anthony on this book? I don't think I've seen you beam with more pride than when you showed us that sketch you did.
Oh, I mean, I was the biggest Sharknado fan before this, after this, and it's fun because I don't draw a lot of adventure stuff, and it was really fun to draw stuff with a lot of action and adventure. I mean, I'm drawing like the Washington Monument with a Sharknado, and Betty and Veronica are hanging off the Washington Monument, and stabbing a shark with an umbrella. All these crazy things are happening, and it was a lot of fun. And I tried to keep it in the spirit of the movies, which are a lot of fun. And the Archie characters they really meshed well with the whole bizarre Sharknado trope. It was really weird. I've never drawn so many sharks though in my life, let me tell you. And I Googled more sharks and carried around little shark toys and models. I was totally sharked out. It was fun.
I kind of freaked out a little bit too because usually we're limited on visual effects on our films and stuff. And we have to be very careful, very precise. And I would go, draw hundreds of sharks, or 10, or 15, or 12, whatever you can do, Dan. Because it's like, I wanted a lot. And he would always come through. The other thing that's interesting about the comic is that I didn't want it just to be Archie, the only hero. It's about teamwork. So everybody plays a part in saving the day. And also especially empowering Betty and Veronica, which is something I really wanted to do. I wanted them to be as kick-ass as possible. So I felt in love writing them. They were a blast. Awesome.
We made a pretty big announcement. Archie has always been about expanding and trying different storytelling. One of the things we did based off the success of Afterlife with Archie and Chilling Adventures of Sabrina was launch a new imprint, Archie Horror. This would have been possible, I think, without the game changer of the book that was Afterlife with Archie. How many of you guys are reading Afterlife? Just for you guys, just for the people in this room, Roberto's going to give you a little sneak peek into our Afterlife with Archie #9.
Oh, wow. So Archie, Afterlife with Archie #9, which is coming out, is an issue that focuses on Reggie. For those of you who have been reading Afterlife with Archie, Reggie is the guy who's sort of responsible for the zombie apocalypse when he hit Hot Dog, which is Jughead's dog, which Sabrina tried to bring back to life, triggering the zombie apocalypse. So really, this whole issue is kind of about Reggie's guilt and how different he is from Archie. So Francesco, if you guys ever read Highlights for Children, Goofus and Gallant, and how Goofus always never did his homework, but Gallant always finished his homework ahead of time. So we kind of wanted to do an homage to that, so we did Archie and Reggie. But something very, very, very bad happens to Reggie in this issue. And it's the penultimate part to the second arc, which is Betty R.I.P., which something really dark is happening. But it's great, and Francesco's almost working away on that issue, so I think it's going to be released probably in the next month or so.
Afterlife with Archie #8 sold out. This is the second printing cover. And Roberto, if you can just zoom out, working with Francesco has got to be an amazing experience. You guys, John jokingly says it's like the Beatles. You guys just feed off each other and it becomes a...
Lennon and McCartney.
Yeah, it's kind of greater, some greater, but it's...
Yeah, I mean, what's great at Francesco, again, totally different art style, and, what's so funny about Francesco is, as John, you always say, is here's this guy who was born in Italy, lived most of his life in Italy, kind of didn't know anything about the Archie comic book characters, but it really is like he was born to draw these characters, and he is such, obviously, a horror, noir, and pulp fanatic. But he drew the cover that originally inspired Afterlife with Archie. So it's really an auteur book, and the auteur really is Francesco. And the pages take a little while to get in, but boy, when they get in, they're just so gorgeous. And it's really important for us to maintain that And it's great. I mean, we're blessed that it's the only book he draws interiors on. He does tons of covers, but he's made it really, really clear that this is his book, and we're thrilled about it. Yeah.
Now's your chance. Give a tease.
Okay. We've talked about. So right now we have Afterlife with Archie and Chilling Adventures of Sabrina for Archie Horror, but you can't really have an imprint unless there's a third.
Just
book.
tease something from Afterlife.
Okay. Tease something from Afterlife. Okay. Well, issue 9, all about Reggie, and then issue 10, 11, and 12 is the kids arriving at a farm.
No, move. The man who invented the phrase "free hogs," Jim Archie. I'm good. Actually, interrupted here.
No, please, Mark, always. Issue 9, 10, 11, and 12 of Afterlife are the kids arriving at a farm where it seems everything is untouched from the zombie apocalypse, but they quickly realize that there's no one over the age of 18 there. And it's about to be Veronica's 18th birthday, and something really, really bad is going to happen there. So it's a little bit like our homage to Children of the Corn.
And we have another amazing horror book that Roberto does with the great Robert Hack.
Yay!
Everyone I talked to about that book just seems scared. They just say number 1 really got under my skin, and number 2 was even creepier. And Robert, we were talking about this a little bit yesterday, that Robert kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when we were talking about artists for Sabrina, actually I have to give credit to Francesco as well. Francesco said there's this amazing artist, kind of a little bit undiscovered. His name's Robert Hack. He drew one of the Afterlife with Archie 1 variants. And he had such a great kind of retro sensibility that when we were talking about the book and we talked about how it was set in the 60s, around the same time the original Sabrina came out, and so many of the movies that it kind of inspired, like The Omen and things like that, Rosemary's Baby, we reached out to Robert. He hadn't done a full book ever, and he came aboard to draw it, and very quickly it became clear that he should also color the book and ink it. So again, like Afterlife, he's really the auteur behind it, and it's amazing. The book has become very different from what we originally thought, but we're loving going on the journey. That's our homage to Carrie on the right. And issue 4, which comes out, when does issue 4 come out? July 29th, is absolute. I think we're going to show maybe a couple of pages from the interior. It really is the creepiest book we've ever done, and that's poor Harvey, who has stumbled upon the witch's coven.
No.
It's not good. It's not good. And then the other really fun thing about issue 4 is that the kids from Riverdale arrive to help look for a kid in Greendale who's missing, and that's Harvey. But that's Robert drawing Betty and Veronica and Archie and Jughead at the top. So the book kind of keeps expanding with each issue, and it's really, we love it.
We have a little bit of news on this panel after we check out these amazing covers for Sabrina. Roberto, you queued it up a little bit. Let's talk about this before we get to that.
So this current arc for Sabrina, which is kind of her new origin story, ends with issue 5. Issue 6 tells the secret history of how Salem became a cat and what he was, and it starts in the Middle Ages and tracks him all the way through the present. But it's kind of a standalone that finally tells the secret of how Salem tried to take over the world. And then with issue 7, we start a new arc called Witch War, which is the witches of Greendale versus the witches of Riverdale. And it's really, really fun. So, but issue 6 is great. It's just all about Salem from when he was a crusader during the Middle Ages.
So the breaking news and cat fancy movies.
Yes, exactly.
But one thing you did not long ago, Roberto, was tease a third horror title.
Yes. And we then, this is an image that Francesco did. We're not going to say too much about it, but a while back, Dan did an issue, I think it was a Betty and Veronica, was it Dan? That introduced a character called Vampironica. And it hits a lot of sweet spots for Francesco. It's Veronica, it's vampires, it's the undead. So this is just a tease for something that is coming later this year that Francesco did that may or may not be called Vampironica.
Now that we have the man of the hour on the panel, Mark, how has your week been with this Archie 1 stuff?
It's been amazing. Man, the outpouring of people who really like what we did, I cannot thank you enough for being supportive. I want you guys to follow me around all convention. That's awesome. That's great. No, thank you. Again, it was a bit of a dice roll, but man, if we hadn't had Fiona Staples on our side, I don't know how that would have worked out, because her work is phenomenal. And again, I hope you guys like what you read. I'm very happy with what we did, and man, you've only just seen the beginning of what we're doing with Riverdale and what we're seeing with the other characters. You know, we kept Veronica off stage for issue 1, but she shows up a little bit in issue 2, and then issue 3 when she comes to Riverdale like a wrecking ball. It's going to be awesome. No, that's such a great shot of Betty. Is everybody okay with Betty being a little more tomboy? Yeah. There's a sequence in issue 2 that you know, when I was talking to my girlfriend and one of our mutual friends, also a woman, talking about what it was like for them to be one of the guys growing up. Like, you know, like just hanging out with the boys when they were 13, 14, 15, and then about the time they hit high school, and about the time they started developing, suddenly they realize that the boys are looking at them differently, and it's weird for them to get they're used to being one of the guys, and suddenly they're not anymore. And the adjustment they have to make there, and what it's like to suddenly have to figure out how to wear mascara and high heels and stuff. And I thought that was a really good place to put Betty in. And Fiona's done this sequence in issue 2 where I just backed off and said, you know more about this stuff than I do. Just, you know, let's see Betty try to figure out all this stuff. And it's just, my heart goes out to Betty. She loves Archie, but she knows she's not the right girl for him at this moment. But is she really? She's not sure. She may have, you know, they're broken up in issue 1, but there may be some regrets on both sides. We don't know.
That's a tease. Now, Mark, you know, we're experiencing a little bit of Archie history here, and that it's the first time Chip, Mark, Adam, Dan, Roberto, and the whole gang have been together. So what's it been like, kind of, you know, you guys talk to each other, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Jamming on really this new Riverdale.
That's the thing. I mean, we have an unspoken agreement between us, which is that no one's like setting a specific ironclad tone or continuity that other creators have to fall into. But let's just enjoy what each other does. And if you want to, like I said, you know, Adam and I were drinking until we were blind yesterday. That's not true. We're having milkshakes, healthy milkshakes. And you know, and we just started talking about. We're again riffing back and forth about, okay, what's Betty's status quo now? What's her background? What's the glue that holds? And I think you said Archie shouldn't be the ampersand between Betty and Veronica. There's got to be some other glue that holds them together as characters. And so we started talking about that, and you know, and then this guy, this freaking feature comes along, and you know.
Good sir, I take umbrage with that.
And while I live in terror to see what he's going to do with Jughead, I'm also living in a complete sense of excitement because you know, you couldn't have put that character in better hands. I'm not just saying that because he's feeling me up behind the table right now.
And Jughead number 1.
Oh, that was
In Jughead number 1, I have this character named Mark Wade. He's just always falling over. People are kicking him. It's just great. It's great. No, on a serious note, I got to read Mark's scripts without his knowledge before I started writing Jughead. And he creates such a perfect world, and he creates such amazing characters that all I really had to do was just kind of follow his lead. He's Mark's the best writer in the business. He always has been, he always will be, until I murder him and drink his blood and inherit his power. And thank you, sir. So doing Jughead, like, we've never had an actual conversation because Mark doesn't return my emails, but I feel like we're having a conversation through just me reading his scripts and then writing my response to Jughead with the character of Mark Waid falling down.
I apologize for being a little late here. Again, no reflection on you guys. Trust me, the place I was in was not nearly as interesting or enthusiastic or as much fun as this one is. So I apologize if we've covered this ground before, but have you talked more about who Jughead is to you? Have you had that discussion yet?
He's like Mark Waid. Jughead is me. Jughead's kind of smarter than everyone in the room, and he doesn't feel like he has to show it, you know? What am I doing? And that's my take on him. He's off to the side, and he'll manipulate things if he feels like it needs to be manipulated, but he doesn't need to be the one that takes the credit for things. Like he's written him as like a Zen guy, and like that's what I want to pick up on. He's my soulmate, Jughead. He's my soulmate.
All right, awkward pause.
One of the things I'm curious about, and so I'm going to ask this question on the panel, is for someone like Victor, you've been at Archie since forever, basically, and to see this kind of rejuvenation of the characters and just pushing these characters forward and creating these new things, what's it been like?
First thing I want to say is, in baseball, they always have an award for the manager of the year. John Goldwater should be the CEO and publisher of the year, and putting together a team that brought this company to the World Series. Changes that had to happen because this company has to move forward, and we're moving forward in the right direction with the right manager and the right coaches, bench coach. And I'm very happy to see it. I'm really happy to see it. I tried to do some things in the past, I had some problems, but we're going forward now. It's really great. Everybody's going to be really happy with everything that we're doing. There's going to be something to read with everything. So that's what I have to say. I have a great deal of the audience, I don't see this, but I'm working on another book, the 75th anniversary book. And hopefully we'll have it ready. So you enjoyed the Betty and Veronica book, the covers book that we did. This one should hopefully surpass those.
Pretty soon people are going to be a shelf just for those.
It's the 75th anniversary book. Next year, 2016, is the 75th anniversary of Archie Comics. It's amazing. That is better to put this book together than Victor. So we're honored and thrilled that Victor is putting together this. When you guys see it, you're going to be blown away. It's an amazing history of the company with art and a little bit of text and some fun stories. It's really a remarkable book, and that'll be out next year. So we'll look forward to that one.
So we've announced a new TV show, a new horror title. We've shown some pages. We've talked about Archie 1. Now let's hear from you. You guys have any questions for us?